Welcome to Bitstorm, a comedy game design podcast by two guys who know nothing about comedy nor game design. I'm Ben Slinger, and with me, as always, is Trevor Scott.
Hello.
Hello, and we have a special guest this week. We have Sam from the Hungry Gamers. Welcome, Sam.
Hello. How are we, guys?
Yeah, good.
Really
Thank you
well.
for joining us this fine Christmas episode.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, we've been trying to get you on for a while, and it's good to finally have you on.
I just wanted to wait for the very special Christmas episode. It's my favourite time of the year.
That's it.
It's always festive. It's always stinking hot here in Australia.
Yeah, my wife is Canadian, and she still finds it really weird. She's been here a few years now, but hot summery Christmases is not what she's used to.
No, I don't think you could ever get used to it if you're used to the snow and the cool cold weather, having like the hot stickiness. Anyway,
well, the first time she saw a Kmart junk mail with Santa on a surfboard in shorts, it blew her mind. So it's like, what? That's how he gets around, right? That and fire engines, which is also an Australian thing.
Yes, it is. Jeez, we're such a great country. We've got all the coolest
what I
things.
love about that is you can say it both sarcastically and not simultaneously.
Yeah. I'm going to squeeze in fire engines into a game here today. You watch.
Oh, we should.
Yes.
So what we're going to do, we're going to do click pitch, and we're going to do our usual, each of us has a random word, but just to make things a little bit festive, I have a set of random Christmas words that I'll be pulling from. Sam and Trevor will be using regular words because we can only have so much Christmas in our games.
Yep.
But that's how we're going to do it.
Cool.
Okay, so
are we all ready?
I think we are.
3, 2, 1, click.
One click.
Oh, boy.
That sounds good. You go first, Sam.
Oh, this is great. Cocaine.
Encounter.
Presents.
Encounter and presents.
Okay.
Okay, is that present? That's presents, as in Christmas presents, I'm guessing?
As in Christmas presents, yeah. Wow. So I'm sort of just picturing the kids running down Christmas morning, the pile of presents under the tree,
And
tearing them open one by
Santa's,
one.
No, Santa's there tripping balls on cocaine.
Yeah.
Well, I was thinking that it was, Dad in his I guess cocaine-fueled revelry the night before realizes that he packed the wrong thing into one of the presents, and it was his cocaine stash,
Oh,
and not,
no.
I don't know, the plaster set, maybe. So I'm trying to think of another white powder that you would actually give a child.
So, geez, what kind of game is this? Is this a puzzle game? I feel like because it's all about isolating it down to like the last present. You don't want the kids to open up the cocaine present, so you've got to sort of guide them to the right present using, I don't know, box size or something. Maybe they're all the same size.
Oh, it could just be one of the. Yeah, it could be one of those kind of
Logic puzzle games.
yeah, like you've got different sized presents that you can shift around, sort of the board, as it were, in limited spaces. But maybe it's part of you're shifting them around in part to guide the children or to slow them down in certain ways. But at the same time, maybe you don't remember which present the cocaine is in, and so you're also sort of trying to figure that out through those motions. I'm trying to think how that would play out.
I feel like there has to be something said about Santa being up all night delivering presents and cocaine.
I mean, how else does he do that?
How exactly?
There's got to be some sort of stimulant.
Coffee doesn't do that to a man. So what about encounter? How do we drive encounter into this?
I think it's just when they're encountering the cocaine present. So yeah, I'm kind of liking this idea of, that's just sort of your whole overarching story and reason for doing this puzzle. But then, yeah, you get given a board with a bunch of presents on it, and the kids in sort of different spots. I'm thinking sort of top-down grid. Mm-hmm. And as they move forward, maybe they move forward once every turn or something. And you can shift the presents in different directions. If they encounter a present, then they don't move for that turn, but they tear open the present and the present disappears. So you're sort of having to guide them to the particular presents. Maybe there's something like, maybe the way you find the cocaine is when you move that present, it leaves like a trail of powder behind it.
Okay, can I ask, because it's starting to sound like getting the cocaine is like the victory condition of the game here, as opposed to the defeat condition.
Maybe the dad is walking around the board too then, and he's trying to get to the cocaine.
Yeah, it's like a race. It's like a race to the center of the board where the cocaine present is.
Well, yeah, I think the cocaine's just in one of the presents, and you maybe once the dad picks up on the cocaine trail, he just follows it. Because
puts his nose down to the ground and
nose
starts
to the ground.
I feel like this is... Oh, sorry, go on.
No, I was just going to say, so like part of the puzzle then is, it's like, all right, I moved this present and there's a white trail, so I know that this present has the cocaine in it.
Or it's got the plaster set.
No, let's not confuse things with that quite yet. But I'm thinking, like, if you keep moving that, obviously it's going to leave a longer trail, and if the kids can't touch the trail either, right? So you're sort of balancing up moving that present, because in some places it might be strategically useful to move that present to like block another one or something like that, depending on the size of the present and that sort of thing. But the more you move it, the more the more moves the dad has to take to like snort it all up along the way, just to prevent the kids from getting it.
When he's snorting, though, he can only move one square at a time.
Yeah, it slows him down a bit. Yeah. Whereas I think maybe the kids move in one direction, but they keep going until they hit a present. Because that's
actually cool. I like that.
Because that's how kids would work, right? That's pretty much what they do.
They can literally run infinite distance until they encounter a present.
Until they encounter a present. That's, yeah. But I like that. And you could even have that, like, bigger presents, they'll take a longer to unwrap or something. Like, maybe it's one square of a present that they can unwrap per turn. So I can see some real strategy coming out of that with what presents you put in front of them at different times. And maybe it also affects, like, which direction they turn or something. Or maybe they just always turn, the little boy always turns right and the little girl always turns left or something. So you sort of got to manage that as well. If they run into each other, they just, like, turn around, do a 180 and go the opposite direction to each other.
Or hit a wall or something.
Have either of you played the mobile game Slay Away Camp?
No.
Is that SLAY? It sounds like a horror movie.
Yeah, it's a horror movie puzzle game in which you play the killer, and you've got to like move your character around the board in sort of like a puzzle sort of fashion. I'm picturing like this square sort of thing in which you got to move presents to sort of move the kids out of the way out of these things, and
that sort of thing. So you could even on later levels like put other hazards or I don't know, different types of drugs.
Oh boy.
This dad's just a real fuck up.
He's a real scumbag. It sounds like. I'd love it if the characters are like it's the deadbeat dad and then the teenage son who's just at that right age where he's starting to experiment with things. It'd just be like them, and then we need a third character in there, like I don't know, a teenage daughter as well or something along those lines.
No,
I think so. I think
it's the hardworking 80s corporate woman who also is hooked on cocaine.
I think the mum. Oh, jeez. I was going to say I think the mum's like and I don't want to reduce the mother to just a power up, but like maybe that's a special move where if you've made that cocaine trail too long, she can kind of come through and just clean everything up and get shit done.
I like the longer the trail she has to clean up, the longer she's unavailable and like to help you again.
Yeah, exactly. You're sort of having to balance that as well. I like that.
Okay,
right,
cool.
That's pretty awesome.
That's pretty good. Let's click again.
3, 2, 1, click.
Okay. My word is poppy.
Room.
Dasher, as in one of Santa's reindeers.
Okay, so you said poppy, didn't you, Sam?
Yep, poppy.
And I said room, so I'm thinking opium den.
Really? Is this our drug episode, not our Christmas episode? What's the theme?
I had to go with what was there. Like,
well, maybe this is more about the drugged version of the plant.
well, no. What I was thinking is this is the story of that time that Dasher actually found himself in like a Chinese opium den, and all the other reindeers had to go save him. Before Santa found out.
Jesus. It happens every Christmas. We cannot get him out of this goddamn opium den.
Well, it's got to be something about, like, Rudolph has got his red nose, and so Dash is jealous of that, and so he tries to find something red too, which is, the poppy plant. And then discovers that when he chews it up, I'm sure that you don't get high just from chewing the poppy plant, but and that's how he gets addicted. He's
well, in this world, these are special magic reindeer. These magic reindeer actually, when they chew poppy leaves, it's as addictive as morphine or opium or any of the other.
Sure, their stomachs just happen to contain the correct chemicals to turn poppy flowers into opium.
Yep.
It's just this weird sort of coincidence.
Okay, so I'm picturing that you're playing one of the other reindeer. Which reindeer should you be playing?
Well, I was almost thinking, are you playing Santa, trying to control the reindeer and avoid, like, every time you get too close to a poppy field, like Dasher just pulls the sleigh to that side and really makes things difficult for you. It could just be one element of a general kind of Santa flying game. I feel like there hasn't been something like that where you're literally playing as Santa flying around and having to, I don't know, like...
veer away from poppy fields.
Well, that's part of it, but also just the standard, landing on houses and delivering the presents and stuff. A bit of a challenge.
So this is literally the openest world that you can actually have, in the fact that it is...
the entire planet.
It's the entire planet.
You could do, I was going to say, you could use sort of the No Man's Sky kind of technology to procedurally generate the entire Earth. It doesn't have to be accurate street by street. You can have sort of the main continents or spaces where the cities are, and then it just procedurally generates houses of different sizes and stuff.
What if, okay, so just building on that, you have a time limit to deliver as many presents as you can before Dasher is strung out because he needs his next hit of his next opium hit. So you've got the clock, and you're just going from house to house, jumping down the chimney, throwing presents around, get back up, get in the sleigh, get going. Dasher's stringing out. We've got to get this thing going.
Well, I'm thinking the whole Dasher opium thing can just be kind of one of the challenges of this basically open world Santa simulation. Maybe each of the reindeer have their own little personalities and their own kind of flaws that you have to watch out for as you're going around this planet and delivering as many things as possible.
I like this.
So what I'm now picturing is that Rudolph, he happens to come down with Santa into this one room, sees this present that Santa's accidentally put down and starts sniffing it. And it turns out that there's cocaine and his nose starts glowing even more red.
Just trying to tie this into the little previous game.
This game is definitely crossing over with Snow White Christmas, which is the name I just came up with for the last game.
Nice, yes.
Yes. We never come up with names for these games, so that's awesome, Sam.
Yeah. No, but I like this open world Santa thing. And the challenge of, and so maybe you are doing things like, look, maybe we did say, how does Santa get around so quickly? Maybe he gets to take drugs as well, and that sort of slows down time a bit so you can deliver more presents. But you have to watch out because, like, Vixen is the cocaine fiend. Maybe it's also around arranging your reindeer, like where they are in relation to each other and to the sleigh, because Rudolph is a bit of a dick because he's sort of got this superiority complex, and so you can't put fucking Prancer too close to him because they just don't get along.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you put Vixen too close to you while Santa's using his cocaine to really get around the world fast enough, then that's going to cause problems too.
I think depending on where you are in the world as well, and how the kids actually are and that sort of stuff in the town that you're in, depends on what sort of presents you're giving out. Also whether you come up against the Krampus or not.
Oh, yes. The Krampus.
Because I really like the idea that it's sort of like a first-person shooter-looking view, so it's all first-person. When you're down in the room and you're throwing presents out, and then, you got to defend against the Krampus with with like a huge snow shovel or something like that. But some kids you're going to have to give coal to.
I wasn't thinking of this as first-person, but I do like that. It kind of reminds me, maybe you could have a real chill mode as well, because it kind of reminds me of a game like Jalopy or something. Where it's just sort of the simulation. It's just a real chill fly around the world, drop off some presents. It's kind of just about the experience. Yeah. But then you've got the challenge mode, which has got Krampus and drugs and power ups and things.
The MA rated mode.
Yeah, exactly. the banned in Australia mode.
Yeah.
Okay. 3, 2, 1, click.
Yeah.
Envelope.
Blizzards.
So mine is Hull, Hull.
Hull, okay.
So is that, sorry, that was Envelope and Blizzard.
And Blizzard and Hull, okay. So this could either be like the hull of a boat or a plane. Because maybe it's about like delivering letters to Santa.
Oh, I like that. That's really good.
So I like the idea that this is a submarine. Because you can have a hull.
Yeah, okay. But how is that submarines aren't going to be affected by blizzards particularly?
When they surface, they will.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
I'm liking the idea that they're on a secret mission to deliver all the envelopes to Santa.
It's World War II. And this is like the big secret mission. Even though the war was going on, they still had to get these letters to Santa.
Yep.
Yes.
Okay, so what are the challenges of that? Obviously, weather is involved in some way. That's probably as you get closer to the North Pole, you're really going to deal with some more extreme weather. Presumably, the enemy.
Yeah, geographically, like where should we set this country? What's in between? What countries is Germany in between? The North Pole of? Where is? What's on the other side of Germany from the North Pole?
All my geographic knowledge, which is barely anything, because
isn't it like Iceland and Greenland up that
horribly?
That way?
It may be. Yeah. Hang on, I'm zooming out on Google Maps.
Yeah, I'm doing the same thing right now. But where are we? So it's basically all of Africa, really. Turkey.
No, they're south of.
Yeah,
Germany.
South of Germany.
Yes.
Yeah, and the North Pole.
Oh, so that's where they'd be coming from, right?
That's where they're starting. That's right. And they've got to go through Germany, through the fatherland to get to
German waters. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, what I was actually thinking is, because it's World War II and you got Nazi U-boats all over the place, you don't necessarily have to go on land. You can just be sort of traveling up and around sort of Russia, trying to get through.
Well, yeah. Well, I think we're talking about the waters you'd have to go through, right?
Yeah. So I'd like to think that this sub is captained by a father who, his one promise to his daughter before he went off to war was that he'd deliver her letter and all the children of the village's letters to Santa. And so it's like this really heartfelt journey, sort of This War of Mine, where it's like it's actually like a really like heartstring pulling journey. And there are casualties. There have to be casualties if we're talking a war game.
Definitely. Yeah, okay. So you really want to kind of get to know your crew.
Yeah.
Really, really sort of flesh out the captain and the rest of the crew. So are we thinking it's kind of like how much of it is planned as a narrative and how much of it is sort of systems-based or like procedurally generated for what happens along the way?
What if you had like, let's say, like talking about getting to know your crew, for example, like what if you could complete the entire story with either all of your crew or like almost none of your crew and the narrative sort of changes depending on who's left alive by the end of it. And so your decisions in battle, say, they affect the outcome.
Oh, I'm picturing almost sort of FTL gameplay, but in a sub where you're sort of moving your crew then around the sub to the different stations, the things they need to do. And so it's those sorts of decisions then that, we took a torpedo on the left side, which happened to be near, the radar station or something. And we lost Jimmy. And that's it. Like now you don't get the Jimmy part of the story. You get, maybe each crew member has sort of different narrative beats that happen depending on whether they're there or not. So there's one thing that'll happen if Jimmy is alive, and there's one thing that'll happen if he's not. Where maybe you I don't know, you find the letter from his kid or something, and something like that. There's something that you have to do, a quest or a mission that's related to also to the people who die as well. But yeah, how
do we tie the Blizzard in? There has to be a Blizzard mission, a mission where the sub is completely ice locked and the Navy, what do you call it, the sailors, the Navy officers have to get out of the sub, surface and get out and just like walk the rest of the way to Santa's workshop. Oh God, yeah. I mean, they can't take the sub all the way there, so that makes sense. By the end, it's just...
I'm not sure how the gameplay would work then. Maybe it's just because you're still coming across enemies somehow. Is there still battle, or is that just sort of the final slog through the blizzard?
I think it's the final slog through. You've already done the hard parts. This is just the sort of last triumphant mission of taking the bag and dying at Santa's doorstep. I like that.
Oh, just everyone dies. Yeah.
This is a tragedy. And then when they
you
get
just
there,
see this like final scene of Santa opening the door, hot cocoa in hand, and there's just this like dead naval officer with a bag of letters.
it's not even Santa. It's just some bloke's house.
It's just a science mission up there or something. Yeah. He's still got a beard and he's wearing red because it's like it's a Russian science mission.
Yeah.
No, it's at that point that they say you're in Antarctica.
You went the wrong way.
What are you talking about? World War II? That was 70 years ago.
So
man,
something I'm picturing for like one of the final sort of set pieces is that you're dragging the bag along in the blizzard, and then all of a sudden you hear this cracking as you look and you see this massive icebreaker coming through, this massive ship just breaking all the ice, and it's like, oh shit! So you're like dragging and running and sort of. I'm seeing the ice cracking, and you're having to do sort of like Tomb Raider like jumps as you're going. That could be.
I'm seeing Fate of the Furious in my head right now. The set piece of Fate of the Furious.
Yep.
With the sub and all the cars on the ice. I love this. I love this a lot.
Same here. I like it.
That's awesome.
Do you guys ever come up with this stuff and then think to yourself, we should make this? This is great.
Too many times to think about. Yes.
And then we go, we've got kids, we've got no time, and we don't do art.
Yeah. This is why we do a game. We do a game jam once a year. Like that gets out any actual idea that we could do some development.
Somewhere out there's like some writer's room scumbag who's just listening to this for some kind of creative notes you can take into the room. Someone's leeching off of this for sure.
They can have it. I hope they are, because I want to see these games, and I don't care if we make them. Somebody should make them.
just give us a small little credit, saying, as thought of on the Bitstorm podcast. 3 to 1 click.
All right. Ooh, a chimney.
I've got kennel.
A lesson.
Like LESSON?
Yes.
Like to learn a lesson.
To learn a lesson.
All right. Do you think there is a Santa Claus for dogs?
I think there's got to be.
I mean, I would assume so. What sort of dog would it be?
A good boy is what it would be. So, lesson, I like the Santa for dogs, and for all the good boys out there who have learnt new tricks, they get a present. How do we do this?
Okay, so that's the lesson. All right. It's about the tricks that they've learned. Okay.
But it's hard. It's like really not easy for dogs to learn tricks. Have you ever tried teaching a dog how to do anything?
Not really, no.
It's painful. It's agonizing.
So is this a dog training game of some kind? Do you play a dog? Do you play the dog Santa?
What if it's like, what was that? Is it Nintenpups or whatever it was called?
Oh, yeah, Nintendogs, yeah.
Nintendogs? Sorry, how did I get Nintenpup? Of course it's Nintendogs. Of course it's Nintendogs.
What do you mean? It's that classic Nintempu game. Nintenpucks.
So what if it's like Nintendogs where it's a virtual pet, and in order for it to unlock like costumes and skins and like crazy Christmas stuff, it has to learn new tricks, but it's like a Digimon almost, like a Tamagotchi. It's just it's a life drain just to get the thing fed and survive.
Well, maybe the goal is to breed a new Santa dog, pup. And so that's kind of your end goal. And so all the tricks you're teaching it are things like dive down a chimney, pick up a present.
Wait, is that the reverse?
Well, not necessarily in that order.
Right, okay. Because I like the idea of a thief dog that dives down chimneys.
Maybe that's one of your. Maybe there's multiple endings depending on how well you teach this dog.
Yeah,
and then you put it through its paces. It like there's sort of a little gauntlet that it has to run, and based on how well you've trained it to do certain things, it may steal all the presents. We don't know. It may just tear them to bits. It might knock down the Christmas tree and shit on in the stockings. Like
there's a dog show at the end of the game. And that's where your dog shows off all of its skills that it's learnt along the way.
Yeah, and there's just all these elves watching. Yeah.
So I'm now picturing that these kids wake up on Christmas morning, and this is at the end of the game. They pick up their presents and they go, oh, it's got all slobber all over it.
That's what you get for choosing the Saint Bernard puppy when you started the game.
Yep.
I do like the idea that you can choose different breeds to start with, and that will obviously affect
whether they can get down a chimney or not.
Well, that, yeah, but a bigger dog is also stronger and maybe can carry more presents at once or pick up bigger presents or something. So there are going to be, pros and cons to each breed.
I'm thinking a nice slender dog like a Doberman.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
It just rips apart any.
Well, I was going to say, but it might also, be harder
kids that it comes across.
Yeah. You might lose a lot of elves in the training period. Yeah, I like that. I like that. That's cool. Like a Christmas-themed Nintendo pups.
I play games, I swear.
All right, 3, 2, 1, click.
I have solitary.
Choice.
Decorations.
Oh.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's in the middle of the wilderness. Sort of, I'm thinking very much up north in Canada. Like, there's snow all around, there's trees everywhere. But it's this old hermit who's been living in this shack for years. And it's Christmas time.
Okay.
And he starts hanging up his decorations and all this sort of stuff. And then he hears a knocking at the door. And his choice is to either open and help the person there, or ignore them and send them on their way.
Is it Santa at the door?
Well, I think this is where you can go into sort of a horror sort of thing, whether helping this person or sending this person on their way has repercussions, and it just so happens to be Christmas time. But whoever this person is,
so this is a Christmas game, like Die Hard is a Christmas movie.
Yeah,
I like it.
Yeah.
Okay, I like this idea of a horror game at Christmas time. That's cool.
Yeah.
Set in this solitary shack in the forest in the north of Canada.
I'm thinking that there's no electricity, no nothing. All he's got is he's set a fire going, and he's just hanging up some basic decorations that he's sort of made himself, and you can tell that he's made himself. Yeah.
That's I think, and that's just really setting that scene of this guy just living by himself. I think the choice of answering the door, I think you have to answer the door. I don't think that's the choice, because otherwise you're having to sort of split the game into. I mean, maybe you can choose to ignore it for a little while, and then someone starts tapping at the window, and then something else. But eventually, you answer the door, and this guy's there, and maybe he kind of. I like the idea that he kind of looks like a disheveled Santa, like not explicitly, but he's bearded and he's sort of got white hair and he's wearing a bit of red. But I think the horror comes from sort of the conversation. Like I'm thinking of this as sort of just this real tense, kind of creepy game where, based on the things he says and just the general atmosphere, it really unsettling.
Yep.
Yeah.
Kind of like the conversations that were held in the movie Tusk.
Yeah, well, I was thinking someone who does this really well is Quentin Tarantino, where there's just that sense that something could happen at any second. Like there's this real tension in the air around what are the intentions of this person, you know? And so maybe
what about if you... I was just going to say, what if you flip the roles? So what if you're the visitor and your goal is to get something out of the room or get something from the person, but you need to get them to trust you. So as a guest in the house, you'll be presented with a bunch of choices from the host, who is perhaps a deranged madman who maybe is Santa. I don't know. And you've just got to earn trust till you can get what you need. I don't know what we can, maybe a decoration, maybe a special ornament from the top of the Christmas tree, which happens to have some kind of, I don't know, magical, mystical power. Help me out here, guys. I feel like you could really jump in on this part.
I do like that better, actually, that you, so rather than, being the man, the hermit, that you, the start of the game, and I'm kind of thinking of this as first person, almost a bit of a sort of walking simulator vibe. You know, you're slogging through the snow and you see the light in the distance, and you make your way there and you knock on the door, and this guy answers, and he's got that same sort of half disheveled, maybe deranged Santa look. But he's really friendly to begin with, I think. I think he's really friendly to begin with and lets you in and offers you help, but, you know, fairly quickly it sort of starts turning ominous as, you know, he offers you something to eat, and maybe it's a bit weird, whatever it is that he offers you, and you sit down in front of the fire and he's sort of staring at you, and and then at that point, I don't know how you communicate the goal necessarily to the player. Like, whether it's something, do you think it's something the player knows before they go in that they're trying to reach, or is it through that initial sort of set of conversations you find out, maybe you're just trying to get out there, maybe you're just trying to get something and get out, escape?
Well, what if you know going into the house that you will absolutely 100% die until the blizzard outside dies down. So you will die unless you stay in this house for like a night. And the decorations on the Christmas tree are something like body parts that this person's like taken from previous victims, but there's a chance that this guy, because he likes you, will let you live for a night so long as you play ball. And so you've got to just make the right choices and survive the night, wait out the blizzard, and get out of Dodge afterwards. I'm getting
vibes of Five Nights at Freddy's and like Until Dawn, kind of like, I don't know, this weird mixture of I guess mostly the tone of those games, but this sort of having to protect yourself in various ways through conversation, and also maybe you get to a point where, all right, we're going to sleep now, but you keep hearing noises coming from different directions, and if you don't catch him on time, he just like slices your face off.
Yeah.
Well, what I'm also picturing is like some of the decorations that he's hanging up on the walls are like deer intestines. They're just sort of looped, sort of like daisy chain sort of things.
I feel like there's a place here for really good like art design, because you want it to look normal until you really look closely at it, or maybe they even change. Like maybe when you get in there, they do just look like normal decorations, but as the light dies down, as the fire dies down or something, you realize that if you look at them closely, it's now, oh wait, that looks really like intestines, or like a shrunken head on the Christmas tree or something that whose eyes follow you around the room.
Oh god, that's kind of freaky. So why is this guy here?
I think he maybe he actually is Santa. He's just gone mad. It's like centuries of traveling around the world and giving kids to presents who are ungrateful.
No, I mean, why is your character here?
Oh, okay.
So your character's Santa, and this is the third part in a 3-game series. The first game being Snow White Christmas, the second game being Santa and Friends, A Tale of Drugs and House Hunting. And then the third part of this game is Santa has found himself. He's crashed, Dasher's just strung out. Rudolph's had a heart attack from all the blow he's done, and now Santa just needs to wait out the storm. So, I like it. Yeah. We've got not only a goddamn game series here, boys. Well done.
Definitely, we can churn out more of this for sure. Different holiday themes. You can do an Easter one.
I like when your character, being Santa or whatever, goes and looks at the tree, and he sees these 5 gold rings just on the tree, and he realizes that, you know, these are from previous victims. They're like wedding rings.
Wedding rings. Yeah, you could do that.
From like, and I don't know, sort of have a little bit of
and then he looks in the basement.
The 12 days of Christmas sort of stuff.
He looks in the basement and finds 7 maids of milking. Well, then they've been milked. I don't know enough of the 12 days of Christmas.
I just like the idea of, you know, a little nod with the 5 gold rings on the tree.
I think it's good.
Yeah, I like it.
3, 2, 1 click.
Yeah, let's go.
Ooh, I've got Tombstone.
Conservation.
Ooh,
miracle.
So there's got to be something here about death. There's something.
I'm
all
wondering.
3 of these words.
I'm wondering, and I don't know if we necessarily want to go the horror way again, but this is a bit of a different tone. I'm wondering if someone asks Santa for Christmas to like bring someone back from the dead.
Ooh. Oh, my God. That's a disappointed little kid on Christmas Day, that's for sure.
And he does it.
But he does it by burying the body in a pet cemetery.
Well, I was about to say, but there's a bit of a pet cemetery thing where they come back wrong. maybe all of Santa's elves are members of the undead. Santa's actually a very powerful necromancer. It would explain certain things. And this kid sort of gets mixed up in this stuff because his wish like collides with Santa taking this kid's, I don't know, mum to be one of his undead army of elves. But because he wished for her back, she has to go to him first.
Oh God, this is kind of scary.
Yeah, that's all right. I think obviously a bit of a narrative thing.
Yeah, I'm sort of seeing this as almost like a visual novel sort of thing, an interactive.
Yeah, or it could be like
Yeah,
I'm wondering if you can make a point-and-click adventure out of it or something.
Walking around and the bits of inventory that you're picking up are actually bits that are falling off your mum.
Yeah, it could have. Look, it doesn't have to be horror based. You could get a lot of comedy, like black comedy, out of this.
This is definitely a Tim Burton game waiting to happen.
Yeah, totally. Johnny Depp will do anything these days. We'll get him to do voices. Get that real Tim Burton vibe.
So I'm thinking Corpse Bride crossed with Nightmare Before Christmas crossed with...
yeah, basically. Crossed with Monkey Island.
Yeah.
I think that could be cool. You could have, you sort of got the little introductory scene where you're introducing, this kid and his dad and the fact that his, mum has recently died and that's real sad. And you sort of just give some basic puzzles to do to like write the letter to Santa and stuff and you see it go off, get sent off and... he's wished for his mum back. And then Christmas morning, there's a knock at the door. And it's just this, like, decaying corpse of his mum walking in. Hi, honey.
She's just totally normal, like nothing's happened.
Yeah.
Doesn't notice that there's a massive hole in her head.
Yeah. Well, the rhyme keeps falling off for some reason. Yeah. I like that.
Yeah, zombie Christmas.
Zombie Christmas.
And then, Santa, you have a few scenes with the mum and you sort of, get a bit of a sense of what's happening. And then Santa shows up because he's just like missing one of his elves and he didn't know why. And there's this whole, thing around, because you wished for your mum back. She was meant to come to the North Pole and help me make toys, but she ended up here.
And then he's chasing her.
Yeah. Or maybe he like gives you, maybe the puzzles are around, I don't know. Does this kid want to keep his mum around now that she's a corpse, or
yeah,
or is it sort of this like, okay, you get 1 month with your mum or something, and it's, I don't know, spending that time trying to find a way to bring her back permanently, or maybe to kill her permanently because she doesn't want to be an undead slave to Santa Claus.
So I've got an idea. Does the mum like get addicted to eating brains? Because then that gives sort of a reason as to, neighbours start going missing and that sort of stuff, and the kid has to sort of decide does he want to keep his mum and have to keep on dealing with all these dead neighbours and that sort of stuff, or
like a Santa Clarita Diet kind of situation.
Yeah,
that could be an aspect of that. Can we make it more Christmassy in that? I don't know, maybe it's something other than brains. I don't know what's a more Christmassy body organ than brains, but. Or maybe just something else that's disruptive that she needs to do to stay alive.
It's pudding. It's Christmas pudding, which has a sort of like a bodily look to it, color-wise, and you just sort of pass it off as blood, but it's pudding. I don't know if that really works.
Right. Well, the problem is you can't get Christmas pudding all year round.
No, and that's...
Although it does keep, though.
It does.
Does it? Okay.
It's got lots of alcohol in it, usually. That's why it keeps.
So do we have a cooking game on our hands now? Is that what this is?
There's definitely at least a cooking mini game. I don't know. I think just something around keeping her, either figuring out how to keep her around or figuring out how to not make her have to be a Santa slave. some big climax where you have to stand up to Santa. I think Santa isn't as jolly a fellow in this one either. I think he's kind of like a CEO almost. Like he just doesn't care about his workers. He's this necromancer who
is all about the bottom line.
Yeah, well, and because maybe he gets like power from children's joy or something, but he uses that joy to raise the dead. Yeah, that's just
oh wow.
So that he kind of has to keep this going to keep living and keep, and so he's sort of figured out this whole thing around this undead army making toys for kids that like sends joy in his direction so that he can keep living.
That's genius. That ties in conservative. So sort of conserving his own physical state by making the whole world happy just so he can live.
Yeah, exactly. He's just trying to conserve his life. He's actually really selfish.
Now I'm picturing that he keeps on harvesting elves for like body parts and stuff. So he's
I think they're all kind of
work sort of fucking
they're kind
Santa.
of all Frankenstein to get. Oh, he is right. Yeah, I like that too. Yeah,
there are serious moral questions this game could raise. This is great.
I think you could do some really cool stuff with it. Yeah, I love the idea of just alternate versions of the Santa mythos as well. Yeah, that's really cool.
Okay,
all right.
3, 2, 1, click.
Yeah,
I have Intruder.
I have Elves.
I have Trilogy.
Ooh. All right, we have to spin this out into 3 games somehow. It's got to be a pretty epic sort of setting.
What about instead of 3 games, it is a triumvirate of elves who are tasked with guarding Santa's workshop at night?
Well, I do like that it's 3 elves, because then you can do a bit of a Lost Vikings-esque. They all have different skills kind of thing. I was thinking, maybe, not everyone has chimneys, right?
No.
Maybe these are the elves who have to, like, intrude, make their way into people's houses so Santa can get in. They're like... So it's basically a reverse heist game where you have to break into houses to leave presents.
I like that. These poor 3 elves have to do some really awful, obscene things to break into houses. Go through like toilet pipes or something, come out of the toilet just to open the front door for Fat Santa to roll on through.
Totally. Yeah, actually, that's a really cool idea that one of the elves can sort of like contort themselves in different ways. One of the elves, I don't know, is like good at picking locks or figuring out codes or something. And maybe the other elf's just good at fucking kicking down doors.
What I like about something that Sam said, I love this idea of this Fat Santa from all the milk and cookies he's been eating over the years.
Totally, yeah.
He can't actually fit down the chimney, so every single house needs to be like broken into.
Okay, yeah, that's a better kind of conceit for why you need to do this.
Yeah, so every single time, even if there's a chimney, the three elves have to go down the chimney, but then they've got to be able to clear a path for Santa to be able to get to the Christmas tree.
Yeah, so again, I think this is a bit of a puzzle game.
Yep.
In that, you've got different skills. I think there's action elements, because maybe you do have to, maybe one elf can jump higher or something, and maybe you have to like use the big bulky elf to stop a dog from getting into a room while the lock picking elf can open the other door that you need to get, the front door or something.
It could be like just when you were saying like the puzzle game element of this, I just thought of snipper clips on Switch for some reason.
Okay,
where you're it's a multiplayer game and you're working together as 2 or 3 elves, just trying to, I guess, I don't know, like become tall enough to like raise the window or hold the sewer lid thing open, and that takes like 1 or 2 people to do while the other one climbs down under and
like
gets
in this one house, it's like, sorry, Flicker, you're going to have to go up through the toilet pipes. Like, it's the only way in.
That's it. It's one way.
Yeah.
So
that could be cool as a multiplayer thing where, again, you've each got different skills. Almost a bit of, what was that game? The Criminals. The 2 criminals working together.
A Way Out.
A Way Out, yeah. Almost a little bit of that, but 3 people, and so you you have to time things correctly and you have to use your correct skills at different times to get through these different levels.
All the while not waking up the family.
Yes.
Yeah, that's instant game over.
Well, I think maybe you've got like, and here we go again, but maybe you've got like gaseous drug that you can, if you need to, in an emergency, you just put them to sleep. Like hit them with a dart or something.
It's like a little... it's like, what's that, Rick and Morty, the Steely guy? He's got chloroform just ready to go in case someone catches him stealing things.
Well, I think, and it gives an extra challenge then, right? Like, you made too much noise. One of the homeowners comes out. You hit him with a dart. Now, part of your mission is also drag them back into bed. Don't leave the dart in their neck, so they don't know what's going on.
For some reason, I'm picturing one of these elves as like this really, really tall, slender man sort of elf.
Oh god, like full on, yeah, okay, like obscenely thin and tall
with extremely long arms and that sort of stuff. And you sort of got to deal with, like they're the ones that can actually. Reach on top of the mantelpiece to like get the key or something that you may need, but they're also creepy as all fuck. And if the
I think all of these elves are pretty misshapen and weird.
Yeah, I think
this whole episode's kind of just been about fucking up Christmas and making
it's so
gross.
Yeah, I hope no kids listen to this. Your kids don't listen to this show, do they?
Oh god, no, not yet.
Fuck no,
not yet. Well, give us a couple of years, we'll get him on the show.
Yeah, I love it.
For a Christmas episode. Yeah, so Santa's coming tonight. So anyway, Liquid Metal Santa.
He's going to be on drugs, and he's going to have creepy elves. And now, good luck sleeping tonight, kids.
Jesus Christ.
I think we've got time for one or two more here.
What's the time?
Oh, okay. I got Frosty.
Background.
Precipitate.
Okay, that works.
Yeah.
So when you said background, Trevor, I got this real like, and we're just totally going creepy Christmas. I got this real It Follows vibe, but with Frosty the Snowman coming to life.
Oh yeah.
So like, there's a scene playing out in the foreground, and there's the snowman that the kid made earlier in the day. And without focusing on it, or and it really slowly, the snowman just sort of picks itself up and comes to life and starts walking slowly towards the people in the scene. I don't know where the game is in that. I had that vision, and it sort of struck me.
So there's a preamble at the very start of the game in which you make Frosty the Snowman, you put the magic hat on, and you're having a good time, and then you leave him alone to basically melt. And he vows revenge.
Yeah, okay. And so now he's just forever killing people.
So I'm picturing like you let a dog come up and piss on him and all this sort of stuff, and he's basically he's hating on everyone. So I
like the idea that he's like a spirit that can possess any snowman.
Yep.
Because then you can have all these different sort of shapes of snowmen or snow dogs or snow whatever. And that sort of plays into how he moves and what he looks like then.
Yep. So now my question is, what is your character trying to do in this game? Is it that after the preamble, your character has kids themselves, and you go up to the attic and they find this old hat, and it's the Frosty hat.
All right. And what do you have to like destroy it or something?
No. So the kids, go down and make a snowman, and you don't see the thing coming to life, but the kids are talking to it.
Right.
And
so the preamble is with like a different set of kids or something. It's like that little initial thing in a horror movie where you see it happen, and then it cuts to another family having fun at Christmas. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I like the idea that they've just moved into this house and they find this old hat up in the attic. And so the kids, you can sort of like be, I don't know, doing some work in the backyard, and in the background you hear the kids like laughing and playing and creating the snowman. And then after a while you start, if you listen into the conversation, you actually hear them like talking to a character who
you don't hear.
Yeah.
God, this is so creepy.
I know, it's great.
And so then what's the gameplay, do you think?
I think it's a night in which you've got to survive. In the morning, it's forecast for sunshine and all that sort of stuff, and it's now night, it's rather quite cold, and the snowman
I do like the idea, and obviously to bring in precipitation, that you sort of... maybe Frosty attacks you. Like, you get some sense, you realize, okay, shit, there's an evil Frosty snowman out there. You've blocked him outside, and then you put the weather report on, and it's like heavy snow all night, but sunshine in the morning. And you're just like, oh, fuck. Like, and that's what tells you gotta, last the night. So
what I love is the idea that at 5 o'clock in the morning, you look outside and like it's pure like blackness because, or you can't see anything because there's just been so much snowfall. And when you finally dig through and get outside, you see this massive, like towering snowman that's just sort of collated from all this snow overnight. And that's your final battle that you got to.
It's like this big God of War-esque battle with a giant creature
versus a titan.
Yeah.
So I'm picturing you and a homemade flamethrower versus like Frosty the Snowman.
I do love the idea that throughout the night you're just trying to find all these different ways to like fend off Frosty by melting him and blocking him and different things.
Yeah, you can't kill him because there's so much snow outside, but you can at least fend him off for a little bit. And
yeah, if you like take off limbs or body parts, he has to go off and like roll around in the snow to build himself back up again, build up his mass.
I love that. That's like, then it's like Evolve almost, like it's just you versus them. But they're the snowman and they start off quite weak, but then they slowly, like take on more and more snow until they like just overpower you. So then you've got to really, I don't know, set up traps, like little heat traps or something.
Yeah. And then it's more about the technology you have. To really fight off this fucking giant lethal snowman.
So I think the gameplay is, we said, for a previous game, sort of Five Nights at Freddy's sort of thing.
Yeah.
But what I'm picturing is that you've got like the two kids' bedrooms, their windows in which you've got to make sure that Frosty's not coming in through there. And then you've also got to make sure that the front and back door, like Frosty isn't trying to get in through there. So basically, you're running between them.
Well, that's what I was thinking. I wonder if it's more of a direct control rather than Five Nights at Freddy's, which is kind of just switch between these screens.
But I'm talking, it's a first person, but you've got to, you hear a noise and you've got to sort of run up and then protect your kid from.
Yeah, and so you can set up traps that have sort of noisemakers, as part of them so that you get alerted if he's coming in and you can, get your fucking, I don't know, hair straightener to like melt his arm off as he tries to get in.
Yeah, I really like
that's
this.
cool.
It's creepy as all fuck. But
that's good. Let's do one more. Let's see if this one turns horror as well, or if we can get something a bit more lighthearted. 3, 2, 1, click.
Yep.
Cool.
All right. Well, this is probably a good one to go out on. Christmas tree.
I've got Pyre.
Pyre, as in like
yes.
Tipper.
Yes.
Yep. All right.
Airport.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
I mean, Christmas tree and pyre make me think of like the week after Christmas when everyone's burning off their old dead Christmas trees. Where airport comes in, I'm not sure.
Airport, I think, Die Hard 2 for some reason.
Okay.
And pyre sort of makes me think of sort of maybe I'm trying to think of what movie it was.
Was it a horror movie?
Yeah, I'm picturing The Wicker Man.
Oh, really?
Oh, God.
I think there's something to be said about the airport and Die Hard 2. And from memory, there was a need to get the runway lights on so the plane could land. So what if it's something about using the dead Christmas tree to create a pyre, but you've got to take it far from wherever you are. John McClane style, you've got to dodge and evade terrorists or whatever in a 2D side scroll sort of beat 'em up.
Oh, okay.
Ooh, I like this.
This is like basically
dragging Christmas trees, dead Christmas trees along with you.
This is just Die Hard 2 with a Christmas tree.
So you said side-scrolling beat 'em up. Are you thinking like the old kind of arcade Ninja Turtles beat 'em up sort of thing?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
There aren't enough of those these days for sure.
No.
So I'm loving the idea of we can get different characters in there, obviously, because you want multiplayer in a game like that.
Yeah, and you can all carry a Christmas tree, like be dragging a Christmas tree.
Yeah, because it is. Yeah, or you can either all be dragging one, or you'll move faster, or it's easier if like two of you grab each end of a Christmas tree rather than dragging it. And then you can come up with like attacks that use the Christmas trees and stuff, but you need to be careful because if you do that wrong, you'll like
if you damage it too much, you lose too many too many branches of it. And
yeah. Okay, I like it. So why? Let's think of the characters and why are these people doing this? Is it this sort of terrorist, like the airport's been taken over by terrorists demanding something, and who are these people who are defending to like land this plane?
Well, there has to be like some kind of power outage, so there has to be a reason for that.
Yeah,
which is why you need the pyre.
Yeah, so I kind of like the idea that it's this this extreme group of protesters who are basically they're protesting the fact that the airport uses too much electricity and is polluting the planet and all this sort of stuff. Yeah, okay. So they've taken out the generator, and they obviously don't want you burning Christmas trees because it creates more carbon dioxide or whatever. So.
Well, Can I like that? Can I pivot on that for a moment? Yeah. What if they're Amish? It's Amish people who don't like electricity and don't like flight. And so like the airport is just the best target for them.
So, just so we don't offend people, maybe it's not actually Amish people, but they're like, it's this cult of anti-technology.
Yeah.
Kooks.
Sure. Even though I doubt that any Amish people will be listening to this podcast.
It's the sentiment that counts, and I appreciate that.
Yeah.
But yeah, like just people who they have a strong opposition to technology or technological advancements, and so they're all old school. So they're all, and that's why it would work so well as a beat 'em up, because there's no guns, there's no like crazy laser weapon trap things. It's all old school. It's like you've got to beat the guy with the stick, the spear, the sword or whatever. It could actually, I think it could be really fun.
Yeah,
definitely.
And there's definitely, I think there's definitely a hole in the market currently for those sort of beat 'em ups. It's a lost art.
So what I'm sort of picturing as well is that you've got different sort of paths that you can take from the Christmas tree lot to the pyre. So you go over the same sort of levels each time, but the more that you go through a route, the harder it actually becomes, because you get more and more people who are going, well, they're using this route all the time. So you can sort of
like the idea of a side-scrolling beat 'em up like that has sort of an overworld map, where you do get to choose these different paths through the level. And maybe you're picking up Christmas trees along the way, because like it's near Christmas time, and so the airport's all been decorated with all these Christmas trees.
Yep.
And so that's another reason to take different routes, is there'll be more trees because you haven't picked them off yet.
Yeah,
with different kind of buffs or something, like different boons for your characters.
Oh yeah, because you've got like there's a scattering of actual real Christmas trees, like live Christmas trees. There's plastic trees. There's like those white snow covered trees that you've got, presumably have sort of different chemicals in them.
The one that is the worst offender for this cult is like those fiber optic trees.
Yeah.
Or if you got battery operated Christmas lights on them, they get sort of flock to you because there's electricity going through.
Oh, Christmas lights and stuff. Yeah, I didn't think of the decorations. They could definitely be weapons.
Well, I'm thinking some of the things that you can use is like you pick up this plastic tree and it's got like 15 glass ornaments on it that you can throw at people. So you basically got ammo of 15.
Yeah. Or you can like use the lights as, a sort of whip attack, or or you can tie them up with it to temporarily, keep them from attacking and that sort of thing.
Can I just throw a bit of praise on the Jingle Bell grenade? Sorry, the like Christmas ornament glass grenade idea, because I feel like the problem with these games is often that they're just, sure they're like video games or whatever, but like when you throw a grenade, that's a big explosion, and they always have grenades that have like tiny explosions, and it just never seems quite realistic. But if you throw a glass ball at someone,
yeah, that's going to be an appropriate level of...
You're going to cut their fucking face.
Yeah, exactly. And probably they'll go down from that, and that's great. They're incapacitated. And it kind of makes sense in just a real world sense, and also in a narrative sense as well. Yep. This guy's badass. Whoever this person is throwing jingle balls or whatever is amazing.
Well, we definitely want to make our diehard, airport game as realistic as possible. So,
yeah.
It's internal consistency, right? Internal consistency, totally.
One other cool thing about the glass grenade is, though, if you miss when you're throwing it, it still lands on the ground and creates like something that someone can step on.
Yeah, like an area that you have to avoid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
like
cool.
that.
It slows them down or just does a bit of damage to them, even if you don't hit them directly. Yeah.
So you've effectively got splash damage and also creating difficult terrain and all this sort of stuff. I know I seem to be getting sort of a Dead Rising sort of feel to the world. In that,
A little bit, yeah.
You can sort of go anywhere within this whole area, but the world is sort of always living. Time is always moving. So if you start going through the terminal too many times, people start
converging on
that spot. So the next time you go through, you have to actually go through a back office, or you got to go through
Yeah, I like the idea of each, because I still like the idea of just
and
certain routes where it's sort of traditional side-scrolling beat-em-up gameplay along the way, but maybe there are split, halfway along this route you can have a choice to go, up through this hallway or continue the way you were going, and that sort of takes you through different
I love the idea
paths.
of secret passages being vents that you can sort of crawl through a vent and you end up in a different sort of area depending on how you travel through the vent system.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool. Oh, I like that a lot.
Me too.
Yeah.
I want to play this game.
I know. I feel like if I had the art skills, this is one I could build. I've always wanted to make a 2D side-scrolling beat-em-up. Yeah.
Same.
We just need to make it happen, Ben. Don't ask me how. We'll figure it out as we go. But whatever we call this game, what are we going to call it?
I did like your name before of Jingle Balls.
Jingle Balls. You know what? The words I was searching for was Christmas ornament.
Yeah,
and all I could come up with was
Jingle Balls is way better.
Just having a block.
Die Hard 6 Jingle Balls.
I love it.
All right, well, I think we will finish it up there for tonight for this year's Christmas episode coming out on Christmas Eve. So if you want to find us online, you can pretty much just go to podchaser.com/bitstorm. And you will find all links to all our stuff there, all episodes, all of that sort of stuff. Yeah,
I reckon you should check out the AGPN of who we've actually got the de facto leader with us tonight. So do you want to tell our audience all about the AGPN, Sam?
Yeah, sure.
You've taken over from Pez.
and my how I've led it this year. So the AGPN, that aside, the AGPN is a collection of video game podcasts from content creators located in Australia and New Zealand, much like Bitstorm and much like many others that we sort of work with and know and have gotten to know over the years. It's a fantastic group of people, and if you're ever interested in doing something like Bitstorm or a video game podcast in a fashion that you would prefer, maybe you've got a creative creative idea that you'd like to do for a podcast, come and check on the AGPN. You can find us on Twitter at AGP Network, and if you search the Australasian Gaming Podcast Network in Facebook, you'll find our page there. So do come and check that out.
Definitely.
Awesome. Oh, I suppose I better hit our theme song. Thanks to Kuradust for the song Mount Defiance off of the album Containment Failure. And where can we find you around the podcasts, Sam?
You can find the gaming podcast that I do called The Hungry Gamers anywhere that you can, or almost anywhere that you can find podcasts. I know you can find us on iTunes. That's for sure. And Stitcher and SoundCloud, and Brendan does the rest of our plug, and Podchaser. And anywhere else, I guess, that you can find or listen to good podcasts. And then you can find all of our social stuff at We Are 8bit, ATEBIT.
And I believe
awesome.
8bit is pretty much a network now, so you've got lots and lots of other podcasts that have joined you.
We do. We have a lot of former guests of this show, like Jack Cruz and John O'Peck, and Brendan, of course, is with me. Sammy Deej does a little bit of video content for us as well, that troublemaker. So there's and
lots of future guests as well.
And lots of really?
Definitely.
Have you done the rounds?
Oh, okay. we plan to.
Well, mate, certainly, and I would love to come back as well. Could I just add, because this is so much fun to do.
Awesome.
And thank you very much for having me on tonight, and for the Christmas special, no less.
It it was a lot of fun, even if all of our games were totally creepy. But I love the the different sort of alternatives to Christmas we came up with tonight. So anyway, that's it for this episode of Bitstorm. I'm Ben Slinger.
I'm Trevor Scott.
And I am Salim Abraham. Thank you. I'm going to wedge that in at the end there.
Yeah, definitely. And, I think I hear jingle bells coming. Oh my God, it's a creepy Santa.